13 etiquette rules in the US that surprise tourists. So I think this is directed to Europeans. I might be mistaken, but probably it is. So yeah, let's get surprised, I guess. Bright side, I love that channel.
So our parents teach us to be polite, but what you learned as a kid doesn't always apply when you're in another part of the world. So if you're heading to the US anytime soon, I've got some tips for you on what we Americans consider the rules of etiquette and some stuff that's totally okay in the US that other countries might consider rude. Let's start off with my favorite, food etiquette. Number 1. Feel free to ask for some condiments. If you're eating out and your food is tasting a little bland, it's completely fine to ask for salt, pepper, or
I'm so confused. Where in the whole world would that be considered rude? I mean, you're paying for your food, so of course you're entitled to ask for salt, pepper, or mayonnaise, or ketchup, or whatever. I mean, I don't know. Unless you are in Italy and you live in TikTok, then they won't be serving you anything with your pasta or pizza that is not convenient. Or cappuccino. I saw those videos, oh my god, and I'm like, really? I mean, I think that if I go anywhere in Italy and I'll order a cappuccino in the afternoon, they will always give it to me without even asking anything. That's just the internet, you shouldn't be really believing whatever you see.
Or sauces to add a little zing to your meal. I know some places in Europe see it as an insult to the chef if you start adding a little spice of your own. But don't worry about that in the
I don't think that's true at all. Everywhere I've been in Europe, I mean, most of the times I haven't asked for condiments because, especially in capitals around Europe, they are known for scamming you. I still remember last summer in Vienna, I asked for bread. They brought me 2 fucking really sad slices of bread and some mayo in the bag. Those little bags they give you in McDonald's, even shittier. And then I paid like €8 for that. They make me pay 8 extra euro charge for that. I was like, what? So crazy. So I always try not to ask for stuff like that, but I don't think that would be seen as bad if you ask for salt and pepper. I don't know. I mean, everyone eats different, so I guess that's the norm, that you will want more oil, more salt, or more pepper, no? I don't know. I don't agree with this one.
The US, nobody's going to be offended or give you weird looks if you ask the waiter for a bottle of ketchup. Even if you're at someone's house visiting, they won't see it as a
I mean, okay, fine. I see where this is coming. If probably you come to Italy, you're ordering pasta, and then you ask for ketchup, you're probably gonna get some weird looks, even with pizza. Yeah, okay, I see where this is coming. But salt, oil, or stuff like that, I don't think so.
Jab to their culinary skills either. Some just like it spicier than others. Number 2. Always tip. Okay, well, maybe not always, but it's a rare occurrence if you don't tip your waiter, hairdresser, cab driver, and so on, and only if the service was really awful. But even then, a lot of Americans feel guilty about not leaving any tip. The rule is 15 to 20% of the bill. So get ready to do some mental math each time you eat out. I've heard that tipping isn't a thing in some countries, especially
isn't a thing pretty much anywhere in the world. I think only in the US and Canada is very popular. But as I come to learn by doing these reaction videos, it's like that because the waiters and the waitresses don't get paid enough. While in Europe they earn enough that they don't have to rely on tips alone. So it makes sense. In that case, it's totally fine,
Especially in East Asia, where restaurant staff always provide good service no matter what. But in the US, it's simply a sign of gratitude that your waiter did a good job even though they're probably tired, their feet hurt, and they've got a bunch of other tables to tend to. Number 3. Clean up after yourself at fast food restaurants. Of course, if you're going to the States, I imagine a lot of your eating out will be done in fast food joints. You'll see a lot more of those than your traditional sit and be served by a waiter types of places. But anyways, if you're finished eating and your tray is now full of wrappers, used napkins, and empty boxes, take it to the trash can and dispose of the garbage yourself.
Yeah, actually, I see that not many people do that here in Europe for sure. I always try to do that, unless the place is really super full or I'm in such of a hurry that I cannot do that. But I always try to do that as well. I mean, I feel like it's just being polite. Yeah, I agree with this one. I think it's much better to do it yourself.
Most fast food places don't have a separate cleaning staff for that. It's pretty much always the cashier that needs to find time between ringing people up to go clean up the dining area. So we try to help them out a bit and clean up after ourselves. Number 4. Open gifts immediately in front of the giver.
Oh,
now,
okay, that is something that we never do. If I think about my childhood, you know, the moment you arrived, when you're invited to someone else's birthday, you bring your gift and they're gonna just stash it with all the other gifts. And then at the moment of the cake, you start to open them all, you know, and everyone is gonna tell you, maybe leave a card. They tell you, oh, this is from me. You go to them and say, thank you. That's it. You never open it right away. That's not something that we actually do. So yeah, that's quite surprising. That's the first surprising stuff in this.
I was pretty surprised when I found out that opening a gift as soon as you get it is considered bad manners in certain parts of the world. I guess some cultures see it as kind of greedy when you start tearing into a present right away. In the US, it's pretty much the opposite. Open it as soon as you get it, right in front of the giver. That way, they can see your reaction and you can thank them right there on the spot. There are also no rules about using both hands or a certain hand when giving or receiving a gift. Just grab it and open it already. Number 5. Be ready for small talk. How about that game last night? Whew. When's this weather gonna let up already? Yes, Americans love small talk, so don't be surprised if a stranger just starts chatting with you while you're waiting in line or sharing.
Actually, in Italy, it's quite the same as well. So yeah, I wouldn't be too surprised.
An elevator. It could be sports, the weather, traffic, anything just to have a short, light conversation. I can't really say why we like talking to people we don't even know. But, I mean, if you're sharing a space with someone, are you just going to totally ignore their presence? That'd be awkward. Oh yeah, and you'll get asked how you're doing a lot, even by strangers. It's usually waiters and cashiers that'll greet you with a, "Hi, how are you today?"
I mean,
just
that's
answer with "Fine,"
normal.
and you? Even if you're not exactly having a fantastic day. Number 6. Expect a lot of…
Okay, that's not definitely something that will happen here. If you ask someone how they're feeling, you're in for something. Because some people, I mean, I would try to always say, fine, I don't want to share too much my problems with a stranger. But most people, they will just tell you all their life problems in the spot. So you should be aware of what that might imply when you ask someone here in Italy, how are they feeling? So be careful, mark my words, And I don't think that's just Italy. I feel like it's lots of other European countries like that.
Smiles. First of all, let me bust the myth that Americans constantly walk around smiling ear to ear. Nobody does that, because that'd be weird. But again, if you're sharing a space and making small talk with a stranger, or maybe someone opens or holds the door for you, they'll smile at you, and it's polite if you do the same. Cashiers and waiters also greet you with a big friendly smile. I read somewhere that this goes back to our early history as a country built by people who all spoke different languages. They didn't understand each other all that well, so they just smiled. But I still think I don't know, I mean, even here, I think it's pretty normal. Like,
I think the first thing they teach you when you start to work in a shop is that you have to smile whenever you greet someone. I mean, it would be weird, right? If people come to your shop and you will be like, "Oh, what do you want?" without even have a smile. Most of the times they just approach you and ask you, "Hey, how you doing?" Smiling, of course, with a bright smile, and then they will ask you, "Can I be of help?" And then you will be like, "No, no, no, I'm just gonna take a look around," or whatever. Yeah, I think it's just the etiquette also here in Italy. Of course, that might vary from other European countries. That's all. That's all I'm saying. I'm just comparing it to my own country where I live and I grown up in.
Just like to be open and kind. Number 7. Respect the bubble.
What's the bubble?
Now, here's a pretty funny thing about Americans. We're friendly, we love to chat, but we also really like our personal bubble. The unspoken rule is to stand about an arm's length away when you're talking with someone. We're also not too big on touching during conversation, because this can be misconstrued as a way of flirting. Of course, the rule doesn't apply with close friends and family, but still, even then, most Americans aren't.
Yeah, I would like that much more, especially here in Italy, where kisses are such a thing, even between strangers. It's always like with people of the opposite sex that you will like kiss each other twice in the cheeks. It's not much of a kiss, like go cheek against cheek. Not many people actually kiss with their mouth. It'd be a little gross, I guess, if you don't know the people. So yeah, I much prefer that. Many people, it's very touchy, you know, when they talk to you here in Italy. I don't like that at all. Especially in the south, is way more than in the north. In the north, we tend to distance ourselves. Yeah.
Too touchy-feely. Number 8. And definitely no kissing. I know in countries like Spain and France, people often greet each other with a peck or two on the cheek.
Yeah.
There might be some
They're so crazy, especially I'm learning French and I'm watching lots of French shows. Like I speak Spanish as well, and I've watched many shows from Spain. I've been to Spain many times, but it's something that you just do, but you don't really talk about, you know, especially here in Italy and in Spain. Everyone does it to kiss each other on the cheeks, but nobody say it. But in France, people is constantly talking about that. It's constantly about talking about kissing on the cheeks when you meet someone. I don't know, it's so weird. Yeah, I mean, that's probably why they're famous for doing that more than us Italians. But many countries does that, besides us.
Americans who greet the European way, but overall, we don't kiss each other as a way to say hi. Again, my personal bubble is my sanctuary. So don't come in it with puckered lips ablazing. It's best to just say hi, smile, and keep it at that.
Yeah,
Number 9.
I agree.
Being loud is usually okay. The stereotype of
Yeah, there is the stereotype about Americans being really loud, right?
being loud is usually okay. The stereotype of the loud American tourist might ring true most of the time, since we tend to project our voices, even out in public. It's not that we're yelling all the time, but I'd say we certainly speak louder than people in Europe or Asia. I've gotten some friendly reminder to take it down a few decibels when visiting my friends abroad. But hey, if you're ever in the States, feel free to laugh out loud or get particularly animated while telling a joke. But of course, there's a time and place for that. You still have to hush down in places like libraries. Shh. Number 10. Indirectness is politeness. So here's the thing about Americans. A direct, no, I don't want, or like that, is seen as pretty rude. But if an American gives you a polite, no thanks, I'd rather not, or I don't think that's the best idea, that doesn't mean that they're on the fence about it. No means no, even if it's said indirectly and super politely.
So what I'm gathering here is kind of like we do something similar here in Italy. There will be like, I will think about it. That means no, always. I want to take some time to think about it. You don't want to say no directly because it will be too rude. You just want to give that option that you will consider it. Well, of course, it's a no and everybody knows about it. Yeah, I feel like, I don't know. That's not applying to Europeans. I would say maybe Northern Europeans are more, and Central Europeans are more direct. So probably it's like that. Yeah. Okay, 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 okay. I see where this is coming. But here in Italy, it's not like that at all.
It's frowned upon to try and convince someone to do something or change their mind because it's seen as pushy and disrespectful to their wishes.
Mm.
Number 11. Sit in the back seat of a cab. Now this is something interesting I found out about Australia and New Zealand. There, it's considered rude to take the back seat of a cab because it's almost like you're showing that you expect to be chauffeured.
I always felt like it's weird to sit in front of a cab, right? I mean, I didn't take many cabs in my whole life. I always tend to take other means of transportation, but yes, sitting in front, bro, this is pretty weird. I don't know.
By someone who's lower than you. Well, don't worry about that in the US. In fact, you should ride in the back seat because the driver might give you a weird look otherwise. It's not an elitist thing, and you can still make friendly small talk from the back. Just respect the driver's personal bubble, that's all.
Okay.
Number 12. Feel free to keep your shoes on inside.
I love
A friend
that.
from Russia recently asked me, why is it that in all American movies, people are walking around their house with their shoes on? And I just told him straight up, because that's what we do. Now, there are plenty of families here that don't have a no shoes indoors policy, although I'd say the majority don't. So here's a good rule of etiquette to live by if you ever visit an American's home. When you walk in, ask if you should take your shoes off at the door. If they say, nah, you're okay, don't feel bad about walking around their house in your shoes. I know it seems bizarre to most people around the world, but it's a-okay here. 13.
No, I don't really like to take off my shoes when I visit someone else. Yeah, I don't know. In my house, I always put on my slippers. I mean, to some people, especially Asians, that would be crazy as well because I still take off my shoes when I get in the house. They just leave their shoes out of the door. I don't know. I don't feel very confident to walk shoeless. Can you say shoeless? I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I don't really like it. So, I mean, if they offer me slippers, then fine. But just being on my socks or without socks, nah, I don't like it.
It's okay to keep it casual.
What does it mean?
Overall, I'd say the biggest thing about Americans is that most of us are pretty casual and laid back. If you're ever out and about in the US, you'll see a lot of people running errands in sweatpants, gym shorts, baseball caps, and even their PJs. But it's
okay, that is something that I would never be able to do. That's just like this. I don't know. We have like a kind of like a microchip installed in our head in Europe that you have to be dressed for the occasion every time. I mean, sometimes I will go out in my sweatpants, but I've heard of people in the US that even goes out in their pajamas. That's something that I could never do. I mean, even making these videos, you know. I mean, one time I was really lazy. I recorded a reaction video in my pajama. But and then afterwards, I felt so bad. I was like, "Oh my god, what is wrong with me?" I don't know. I don't like to be that casual. I mean, even just like fixing my hair. I'm just wearing a hat all the time because my hair goes crazy every time, and I don't want to always go and cut it. So yeah, we care too much about the way we look to other people. Yeah, I just want to say that. I don't know why. I don't know if it's a bad thing, if it's a good thing. It's just what it is.
It's not just about
I don't
clothes
judge
either.
other people that
We often
don't
keep
do
it
that.
on a first-name basis, even with people that are generally referred to more formally in other countries. For example, most of the time your boss is just Jim or Janet, not Mr. or Mrs. Jones. You might start off more formally, but I guarantee you that that person will say right off the bat, "Hey, call me Jim." Now, what would be weird is if their name isn't Jim. Maybe it's Howard or Benny. Then what you say is, "Hey, call me a cab." So, are any of these Americanisms different or the same in your country?
Some
And
of
to
them.
all my fellow Americans, can you add anything to the list? Let me know down in the comments. If you learned something new today, then give this video a like and share it with a friend.
I did,
But
I
hey,
did.
don't go call me a cab just yet. We have over 2,000 cool videos for you to check out.
Wow, that's crazy, 2,000 videos. I mean, this is a great YouTube channel. I mean, it's probably one of the first, if I'm not mistaken, right? Yeah, let me know down in the comments which other etiquette rules were not added into the video that you consider something really important and you saw probably, I don't know, maybe you travel to a foreign country and something that you did was seen as rude. I don't know. I'm just curious to know. So yeah, let me know. Share your best or weirdest moments with me. Okay, I wish you all a lovely weekend and I'll see you in my next video. Bye bye.